In this video, I'm going to show you the one position on the court where offense is essential, the mindset you need when you get there, the shots you need to be looking for, and also how to apply maximum pressure without giving easy points away. The first thing that I'm going to go over are all the possible shots that I have that are available to me and how I make that decision. And then we're going to get into very specific examples on how to actually put pressure on that team coming in. So to start off, it is mindset. I'm obviously trying to take every ball out of the air because A, it takes time away, and B, I can catch it earlier and out in front of me, which puts me in a very offensive position. So if I get a forehand and it's high above the net, I'm probably going to be hitting some sort of swinging volley. If it is at net level or a little bit lower, I'm going to be probably using more of a roll motion, a vertical motion low to high. And then if I can't reach it out of the air above my knee level, I really want to make sure that I'm disciplined in creating space back and then attacking it off of the bounce at the apex. When it comes to the backhand side, I have similar options just on the backhand. So if it's high above the net, I'm going to be utilizing more of a full swinging volley. In this shot, I could get a ton of power and keep the ball deep. If the ball is actually around that net level, maybe a little bit below it, I can be utilizing my backhand flick to put a little bit of topspin and get a lot of pace on that shot to keep my opponents back. And if the ball is slightly a little bit lower below the net, but still kind of above that knee level, that's when I'm going to be utilizing that backhand roll. And with that backhand roll, I can take the ball really early, take time away, and add a little bit of topspin pressure at my opponent's feet or keep them back in transition or at the baseline. Again, just like the forehand side, if that ball is too low, I don't want to be volleying that ball below my knees or at shin level. With those balls, I want to be disciplined and also work on my spacing, gathering my feet and creating that space so then I could actually attack that ball off the bounce with my two-handed backhand. If you are trying to figure out how to apply topspin, what shots to hit, and what technique to actually use, make sure you check out topspinsecrets.com or scan the QR code here to learn how to hit it. All right, now that we know what kind of shots are available to us on the forehand and the backhand side, and we also know what ball contact height we're looking for and what kind of shots that we have available depending on the height of the ball. Now we're going to talk about the key scenarios that players use to transition in. Knowing these scenarios will help me decide what kind of balls to hit and what shots that I can be utilizing to apply the most pressure. The first thing that we're going to look at is the drive drop. We're seeing this very commonly at high level play. Players are driving their thirds and they are trying to find something shorter that they can actually drop or dink in. So mindset wise, when I see somebody wind up for the drive, I obviously want to stay relaxed and I want to hit the deepest, most solid counter as I can. Now, what's really important here is that I don't want to be over hitting my counter and giving them free, easy points. I want to be going for something consistent and relatively deep and then try to put pressure on the very next ball. All right, just like I talked about, we want to get our counters as deep as possible, but we have to leave some margin so we're not overhitting and giving away free points. So to do that, sometimes my counters would be really deep, but sometimes they'll land a little bit shorter. As long as I could keep them low, then my opponent is going to be forced to drop their fifth shot. Now from there, after I hit that solid counter, it's really important that I'm then leaning in and trying to find a swinging volley, a flick, or a roll to put more pressure on them in the transition zone. And if I can't get it out of the air, that's when I'm moving my feet off of the non-volley zone line and I'm trying to be aggressive as I'm finding their feet anywhere they stand on the court. Now, one other thing that I do want to mention on the drive drop that players are utilizing is if you don't get a solid counter or if your counter is weak and sits up a little higher, they are going to be driving at you or applying pressure again. So if you're in this kind of scenario, make sure when you see that weak ball hit by you or your partner that you hunker down and get ready for a counter again. That is not when you want to be leaning in. If you pop up the ball and it's weak, you want to stay grounded with your feet so that you can hit a solid counter. Or if you need a little bit extra time, you could take a quick step back and then counter from there. All right, the next scenario that I want to talk about that commonly happens on the court is when your opponents are hitting very aggressive topspin drops or drips, and they're putting a lot of pressure on you as you are hitting your fourth. Due to the fact that these players are not only being aggressive with their third shot drop, but they're also crashing in and being aggressive with their movement, we have to make sure that we keep the balls away from the middle of the court, and we want to keep the balls away from their waist level or above. So here are 3 different ways that you could handle aggressive topspin drops. The very first thing that we can do when we see an aggressive topspin drop and we know we're not going to be able to effectively hit it out of the air is we can shuffle our feet back and then hit a dink angle. So whether I shuffle back here and I hit more of a slice, or I can shuffle back here and hit a little bit more of an aggressive dink. But again, I'm keeping this ball low towards the sideline and I'm not hitting it high through the middle. This mitigates the poachers that come in and also the players that are really aggressive coming in after that topspin drop. The second thing that I can try to do when I have players dinking really aggressively is I can come off the line and hit a safe ball kind of towards the middle of the court, but it has to be short into the kitchen. So you'll see a lot of players do this on the forehand side. You might get a good topspin drop here, and then players will shuffle back and kind of shovel or dink the ball so that it is low. And then the good thing about hitting it towards the middle low is it limits the angles. So if you have the players not only crashing in, but they're also good at dinking and rolling from wide positions, hitting it towards the middle of the court is also a good option if you can keep the ball low. Now, the third option that you see, and again, I wouldn't recommend this in lower levels of play, but at higher levels, is you see them use a half volley dink. And the reason why is they are trying to reach in and they're trying to be really aggressive, but at the last second, they are deciding to not do this and reach in because it's going to be a low contact. So you'll see them pull their paddle back and just play a safe ball cross court or towards the middle, again short into the kitchen or the non-volley zone. So it makes it very difficult for the aggressive opponents to poach and put pressure on you. All right, so like you saw in those examples, as the player hitting their fourth shot, your 2 opponents will be back at the baseline or in transition. It's really important to A, try to find their feet as much as possible. B, I'm utilizing as much topspin as I can to get that ball up and down towards their feet. And then C, sometimes your opponents are going to hit really good thirds that are going to be putting you in a defensive position. Those are the times you may have to concede the kitchen line, and that's a better option than kind of just sending it right back at them at a high hitting position. If you'd like to actually learn more about how to apply topspin and put pressure on your opponents with topspin, check out topspinsecrets.com, scan the QR code here, or click the link in the description.
Heat, heat.